Teen Wolf. I have deconstructed and criticized Teen Wolf so many times already, but people keep asking for more. So here we go. This time we are taking on the ostracized and overlooked character of Boyd. Vernon Boyd was introduced in Season 2 as the third and final member of Derek's newly bitten teenage pack. He was quiet and subdued. He kept to himself. But all he wanted was someone to eat lunch with. He wanted a family. He was one of the most relatable characters in the entire show simply because he wanted to stave off the loneliness and belong. But he was also afraid to be vulnerable. He became one of the most tragic characters in the entire show. And he was given the least amount of useful screen time. He didn't even have much of a backstory. There's little bits and pieces that were scattered throughout, but ultimately led nowhere. They didn't even bother introducing anything concrete for his character until about Motel California. It seemed to actually be ramping up to something further, something more. And then he was killed in the very next episode. Basically, he was written as a disposable character, which is really poor writing, because if you actually want to kill a character off in a show and have the audience feel something, then we actually need to know the character. We actually need to like the character. And we actually need to care about the character. But he had no real character development to speak of. What were his goals? Why did he say that the bite was worth it to him? What did he actually get out of it? He never had a chance to really live it out. And he said he lost his only friend, Erica. He was treated as the muscle. It was even in his casting call. He was the one of Derek's betas that would fight alongside him. We never really got a chance to see him engage alongside the other characters. He was just sort of there. You know, the big, beefy black guy to throw down. And Derek trusted him. Derek looked after him. But his character was vastly ignored and relegated to the background. Honestly, if the purpose of his death was to really torture Derek, then Isaac would have been the best choice. Not only because he and Derek actually had a much closer relationship, but because of this backstory that they had sculpted for Isaac. Instead, Boyd just became another character of color to be sacrificed in the name of progressing the white male lead. It was a pivotal moment in Derek's progression as a character. He practically killed his own child with his bare hands. Because through Boyd's death, we really do see a change in Derek. He doesn't react with anger, which has been his go-to in the past, but with genuine sorrow and remorse. But it's not just Boyd who serves this function. Both Deaton and Marin fulfill this role of magical spiritual wisdom to elevate the other characters, which is a very common role for black actors in Hollywood. They have no histories, no love life, no story outside of serving the main character's journey. There's no aspirations of personal glory for themselves. They are purely selfless. I mean, we didn't even know that they were siblings until halfway through Season 3. Basically, their function is serve the white people. What really bothers me is Boyd is an outsider in a group of outsiders. The lone male black character is the unwanted loner character. His closest relationship became Erica. A relationship that we never actually got to see unfold on screen. It was just something that was alluded to. But the little of their interactions that we actually did see were beautiful. They really had chemistry. It's too bad we never got to see that potential play out. I've talked about it before, but apparently part of the reason that Gage left the show is because her management didn't want her any biracial couple on screen. She's since moved on to better management, so thank God for that. But maybe that's something I can try and go into a little more deeper another time. But Erica would have been an important part of Boyd's growth. Learning to let someone in again after shutting people out for so long. Learning to love someone, form a bond, a relationship. Learning to rely on someone outside of yourself, but also to trust yourself to love again. The betas themselves are the pinnacle of the token trio. You know, represent the largest demographic. White dude, black dude, white chick. Boyd is the only one in the casting calls that ethnicity was actually called for specifically. Both Erica and Isaac were open to all ethnicities, meaning he was specifically chosen to be the character to represent a diverse mix. A lot of shows actually do this, have this token diversity, but none of them ever actually talk about issues of race. It doesn't help that after only one season together, the only one left out of the original betas is the white male, and then he was promoted to a series regular. Eventually Mason was brought in to take on that token character of color, but also, because Danny had disappeared, the gay kid too. Teen Wolf was supposed to be this show without racism, homophobia, or sexism, and to a certain degree it actually managed to maintain that, but when you really get down to it and you examine it closely, well, let's put it this way. The season that Boyd died, 50% of the cast was white males, and thanks to Dunsky on Tumblr, we actually have a further breakdown. Male characters have a 79% survival rate, and if you're a white male, then that goes up to 80%. But the women on the show, well, you have a 50-50 shot of dying. So the female villains, they're killed, like Kate or Jennifer or Callie. But the male white villains, they all get to live, like Gerard or Peter or Deucalion, Ethan and Aiden, you know, the twins that killed Boyd. They even went on to have a redemption arc in the same season. I guess my point is that writers need to take note of this. There is a fundamental problem in how we craft stories and represent people. Am I perfect? Hell no. But I'm trying to educate myself and do better. Because we can't do better if we're ignorant and refuse to acknowledge that there is a problem. Boyd deserved better. His mistreatment and subsequent death were tragic. His time on Teen Wolf was short-lived, but he still stands as one of the biggest examples of wasted potential. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and maybe subscribe to my channel.
Well, I have a migraine and Boyd here has explosive diarrhea.
We're here to protect you. You're here to protect me? Well, I'm in trouble then.